to Ewe Sew You. I'm Zoe and this is my podcast about all the knitting and sewing and crafty bits and pieces that I get up to. This is my end of November roundup, even though I'm filming on December the 2nd. There's not a massive amount to show you because I've shown you most of the things that I've bought and made over the course of the month, so this should be quite a short one. So grab a cup of tea, maybe grab a mince pie or a bit of stollen, it's that time of year after all. Well, let's get to it. So first of all, let me just explain where you can follow me. You've obviously found me on YouTube, so hey, I'm here, I'm the Ewe Sew You channel. You can follow me on Instagram at ZozieM, and on Ravelry I'm ZozieM. You can also find the Ewe Sew You forum, the chat group, by searching in the groups tab on Ravelry. I do put up show notes for these monthly roundups on there. And there will be other videos where I feel that there's a need to put a show note up. I mean, if it's just showing you one particular pattern, there may not be quite so much need, but if there's lots of things that I'm referencing, then you'll be able to find that there in the Ravelry group, and I'll also put show notes on the blog at www.ewesewyu.com. So feel free to pop on over there. I tend not to duplicate the content on the blog and the podcast, so you should be able to get different stuff there. I need to put a new post up there about some of the Christmas crafting that I'm doing at the moment. I do have a little piece of that to show you in a minute. So let's crack into works in progress. I have been making a little bit of progress on projects that you've already seen me working on. So first of all, we have my improvised socks. I am making this pattern up at the moment. I'm not totally convinced that I've got the heel worked out right, but these are in paint box yarns. As you can see, my heel looks a little bit on the small side at the moment. There is a flap and gusset in there, and I've tried Eye of Partridge, so hopefully you can see that slip stitch patterning going on there. But I'm not sure if those heels are going to work properly for me, if I've got them in quite the right place, but it's the first time I've made up a sock pattern, so hey, it doesn't quite work out. It's not the end of the world. They do fit on my heel, with a little bit of encouragement, so I am going to persevere and knit up the leg and see how they go. And then I will rework the pattern in a new yarn to sort of iron out the kinks, as it were. Whether or not I end up releasing these, who knows? I am just having a go at doing it at the moment, seeing if I can, really. So that's my socks. I'm hoping to get these finished before I go up to my dad's for Christmas. So hopefully there'll be a finished object come the December roundup. Next we have a small amount of progress on my Blame Dunderknit Cal project, which is a set of Latvian mittens from a kit, so it comes with all the yarn that you need. It means I've done my first Latvian braid. It's actually a lot easier than it looks once you actually get into stitching it, knitting it. I did need to look up a YouTube video for the Latvian braid because the instructions in the pattern are not the best. The Latvian mittens kits, they're great in terms of having all the yarn in there and giving the traditional designs, but they are not beginner friendly patterns. The instructions are far too minimal for that. So this is where I've got to so far. I haven't done a massive amount on it, but I've started to introduce the charcoal grey into the colourwork on the cuff there. Just block my face out, you might be able to see that a little bit better. And as I said last time, if they fit me when I finish them, they'll be mine. If they don't, they'll be gifted. Whether or not I have them done by Christmas remains to be seen. It's quite hard work on the small gauge with this wool and 3 colours at once. So we'll see how I get on. Blame Dunderknit Cal finishes January the 13th-ish. So hopefully I'll be able to have a pair of mittens by then, but I do have other projects on the go and a few other things that I want to get made, and not least of all the jump of my other half, but more on that later. So put that to one side. The other project that I've been making progress on is my test knit. Again, this is around about January the 13th that I need to get it done by, so it has been put on the back burner a little bit whilst I did that throwback sweater, and it will be rotated in and out with Christmas crafting and blame Dunderneck cow stuff. Let's have it the right way up. So it's top down, in the round, raglan sweater with cabling, with stripes, and in fingering weight, and it is Big Red by Mina of Knitting Expat. I'm doing mine in blue, so big blue if you like. I am very, very nearly at the end of the raglan increases. I would have been a bit further on if I hadn't stopped to do the throwback or done a bit of Christmas crafting, but I'm fully expecting to have this one done around about Christmas. The other reason I've not done much crafting in November, to be fair, is November is report writing season for pretty much every teacher in the country. So yeah, it just eats into your crafting time a little bit. So that's my works in progress that I've been working on throughout the course of the month. And yeah, I'm hoping to get some, if not all of them, done by Christmas. But as I say, I am planning on knitting my other half a jumper. I've got the wool on order. He's not had a jumper knitted by me before. He's 6'4", he's quite slender. I'm just going to pull up the pattern on Ravelry. I thought about it, I would have had this open already. But he's got a hat that I've knitted him. I've got part of a scarf knitted for him, but they're, as I say, black and grey acrylics are not the most inspiring things to knit. But I have got the wool on order from Love Knitting to knit him a I think it's worsted weight, maybe Aran weight, sweater with cabling, with ribbing, with textured patterns on it, which I'm hoping to get done through in December. His birthday's at the end of December, so I'd really like to have it done for his birthday, just before New Year. But if he gets it in January, he gets it in January. It's not the end of the world. So here we go. It's this jumper, which is Forest Hill. Oh, mind the window. Forest Hill by Erica Knight. Hopefully you can see that without the glare. I will put a link to it in the show notes, and down below in the description as well. So yeah, that's an Aran weight sweater. I've got the pattern already, got the yarn on order, so that should be quite a quick knit in that size of yarn. And I do find cabling quite easy to make progress on. There's a lot of body for somebody who's 6'4", so having something that's going to keep me entertained whilst I'm knitting it is a good thing. It's going to be in a grey, it's going to be in a merino. I had him feel the Universal Deluxe worsted that I did throw back in, and he did notice a bit of a prickle on it, and he's not used to wearing hand knits, so I figured getting a merino would be a better option for him, because if I'm going to spend all that time knitting for him, then I want him to actually get some wear out of it, and merino being a bit softer, I thought that would be beneficial. So the last thing I want to share with you is my finish objects. I've got two. I've got this one that I am wearing. I will insert some photos of me wearing it. We went down to the orchard at the end of the lane to take some photos looking out over the fields for Minerva Craft blog. So that's all been written up and sent over to them. This is a Lurex open knit fabric in navy and gold that Minerva sent me to write a blog about. I was a little bit worried about it fraying because it's a looser knit than, let's say, a jersey. So I was a little bit worried that it might unravel a bit. Don't know why, I've stitched a jumper before. I know knitting doesn't unravel when you cut it, but still I was a little bit concerned. So I've not really finished the edges of the facing, but I have run a line of zigzag stitching up a little way in from the edge, partly to secure the interfacing to the facing. It's fusible, it's iron-on interfacing, but sometimes the glue fails, so I do like to run a line of stitching up the edge or a little way in, just in case. And it will also mean that if it does start to unravel on that unfinished edge, that it's only going to go so far. my machine loved this fabric. If you've been watching my earlier videos, you'll know I've been having a lot of issues with my machine. It's been skipping stitches, it's been bending and snapping needles and all this sort of stuff, to the point where I'm like, might need to save up for a new one. It is like 12 to 15 years old, and it was cheap, it was 40 quid. It's not a high-end machine. So it's done me well, but it loved this fabric. It was like a knife through butter to stitch this up, absolute dream. I traced out the pattern yesterday, a little behind schedule. I would have liked to have had it done and sent off before this weekend, but as I say, report writing. So I traced the pattern yesterday lunchtime-ish, cut out the pieces just before dinner, and after dinner stitched up, and it was done in a day. The pattern came free with Sew magazine, so it was one of their cover presents, and it's one of the Simplicity pattern hacking patterns, so it's that one. It's K8377. I have checked, it is available on the Minerva website. I figured that was kind of useful information to have in the blog post for Minerva, and I'm sure you can get it from your usual online pattern retailer, if not in store. The idea of the pattern hacking patterns is that they encourage you to modify patterns, which is fantastic. It does give you a few options, and if you can see the line drawings there, well, they are on the front, so it might be easier to see it there next to the full length version. So I have done the high-low hem version, which is here. In the line drawing they put a button loop fastening on it. I've opted not to, I've left it open like this version. I have got a reasonable amount of fabric left, so I am tempted to make either a vest top or a skirt or something to go with it. And at some point I will probably make the short version there, possibly in a different fabric, possibly the medium length as well. I've just made it as is in the pattern, because the pattern pieces for all of these options are included. So it's not really hacking because they give you the pieces for the options that are on the cover, but it does give you a sense of how to modify patterns. The instructions are clear, but they're not detailed, and they are not ordered in a do this, then do this, do that, then do that kind of format. They are written out in a, this is how you're going to put your sleeves in, this is how you're going to do your shoulder seams, this is how you do your side seams. So you're sort of looking by design feature for what you want to use. So it does get you into that way of thinking about how garments are constructed, what's the best order to put them together in, and give you a little bit of encouragement to go ahead and modify your own. But if you're a beginner and you've not really made many garments, I wouldn't recommend it, just because there isn't enough depth in the instructions. Once you've made a few garments and you've got the idea of how garments work and how they go together, and you're starting to think about modified patterns, that's when I would go to the pattern hacking patterns. As an introduction to modifying patterns, they're great. So yeah, so they do have really, really good points, but I wouldn't do it as your first garment, just because the instructions aren't in a flow system, because they're themed by which part of the garment you're looking at, rather than, first of all, you're going to put your interfacing on your facing pieces, then you're going to sew your facing pieces together, then you're going to do your shoulder seams, and then you're going to do your side seams. That would be far more helpful for a beginner. But all in all, it's a simple garment and a really good basis for making more extravagant items or showing off a fancy fabric like I've done here. And they are actually full length sleeves. They just slipped up a little bit. I could have got away with the smaller size. My shoulder seams are just off my shoulders, but it's fine. Oversized is fine. The fabric feels a little bit more like a coatigan because it's a little bit stiffer than most, like jerseys for instance. So actually having it slightly oversized is good. I can layer up underneath it, which I wouldn't be able to do if I'd have gone down the size. By my measurements, this was the right size for me. I did the large, but I think I probably could have got away with the medium. But yeah, all in all, really happy with it. And it's going to glam up a few basic garments, basic outfits and things. I've got it over jeans and a t-shirt today, and it's fine. So that's that. My other finished object is actually something my brother requested. I asked him earlier in the year when I was planning out things I wanted to make if he would like anything knitted or crocheted. a little desk companion. He's asked for a Yoda, he's asked for a Porg. I haven't got a set of yarn for the Porg as of yet. I'll have to dig out through some scraps. I do have a pattern on Ravelry for it. But I do have Star Wars crochet and its sequel, more Star Wars crochet. So Yoda will be getting some companions to go up to my brother's and sit on his computer desk. Oh my goodness, how cute. I'm going to have to make some for myself. There's 12 in each of the books, so I do have 24 Star Wars patterns. In the second book, they've got the Mos Eisley band. At some point my brother will be getting that. I don't have the yarn for it at the moment. And I will probably do some for myself as well because they're adorable. And I think me sitting on my desk at work will be a great talking point for some of my kids. Because some of them need that little bit of nurturing or distraction. So yeah, teeny tiny Yoda. The end of the podcast, this is. Not that we're a nerdy family. So yeah, that's all I have for you this time around. As I say, November's quite a quiet month crafting wise. I do have more Christmas crafting that I would like to get done. I have more teeny tiny Star Wars to do. So I will show you those once they are done. In the meantime, pop on and follow me on Instagram. Remember, that's ZozieM. I will have at some point put it across the bottom, probably at the beginning, that's where I normally put it, and I'll put the links down below. I'm on Ravelry as ZozieM, and you can search for the group in the groups tab, as I say. Show notes on Ravelry, show notes on the blog, www.ewesewYou.com. And I will see you next time. May the Christmas force be with you.